Hello, my name is Jessy the Koker. I am a freelance podcast maker, and I will tell you something in a small workshop about audio trailers. Often, an audio trailer is the first thing a new listener will hear about your work, or will find in your feed if you're a podcast maker, for example. It is really the first true introduction to your work, and one you hope will convince them to hit that subscribe button. Or watch your documentary, interview series, or whatever great you are making. Here are some of the best practices that will keep you from besieging the edit gods, to take you out of your misery and will give people a reason to get excited about what is to come. My first tip is, summarize yourself. If you're preparing to launch a podcast or another audio project, chances are you've been deep in pre-production already, and you have a lot of tape to work with. So gather the copy you've already written and put it to work. Use show and episode descriptions, notes from recording, and maybe some old brainstorm session notes. Anything that you think will help you to describe your show. From this, define the narrative of your work. You'll need to distill this down into a quick punch. So, focus on what makes your show unique. What do you want to highlight? The tone, the dynamic of the hosts, the perspective you take on this particular issue, the story or the subject itself. Try to be as specific as possible. And imagine someone demands you to summarize your show in 10 words. It's really hard. I'll let you think for a bit. Well, I'll try one of my own. This usually takes a long time. I think this summary is version 321 of my own podcast, Achtergrondgeluiden, which focuses on the Dutch music scene and Dutch bands. My second tip is on writing a script. Your general overview of your work should include your project name, what it is about, and who's it for. Once you know what your show is about, you can start writing the script for your trailer. Being informative and concise is more important, I believe, than being funny. So my tip to you is play it straight. There's nothing wrong with starting with, hey, I am the host and this is the co-host. Our show is about, when considering a podcast. Or being clear in another way. So my point is, get the information across first, then shine it up later. Remember, you always have less than 1 or 2 minutes to make your case to a new listener. If a section feels unfocused, fatty, or even off topic, cut it from your trailer. The third tip is, do not oversell and give a clear call to action. Your trailer should match your work and shouldn't give your listeners false expectations. So, finally, I believe that your trailer should include at least one call to action or one message that you want your listeners to walk away with. If you have a website, sending them to your website would be the ideal call to action, since it's a central location for your product. If you have other places where you want your listeners to go to or register or favorite, send them over there. Also, if your show features interviews with interesting people, grab some of your favorite moments and include them in your trailer. This way, listeners can get a sense of who's going to be on your show, but also have a tone of the conversations. When you're choosing which grabs to include, make sure you only select the highlights. That might seem like an obvious thing to say, but you need to put yourself in your listener's shoes, rather than picking the bits you like the best. If you're thinking about your audience, you'll avoid things like in-jokes or anything that might be too self-indulgent, no matter how hilarious you think it is. Remember, your audience has never met you before, so this is your first and potentially last chance you have to make a good impression. The last tip concerns music. A trailer should be fast-paced in my point of view, so your listener is happy to come along for the ride. However, I believe that the so-called color of your music should align with the contents of your project. An EDM soundtrack to your trailer would not match with a report on classical music. So, to summarize, an effective trailer should make a clear promise that the show will deliver on, explain the who, the what, the when, and the why of the show, be truthful, so not misleading, don't promise what you cannot deliver, whet the listener's appetite. This can be done with a list of upcoming guests, topics, or short audio clips from not yet released episodes. Also, you should include a clear call to action to subscribe, follow, or favorite your project. As a last concluding remark, I want you to remember the role of a coming soon trailer changes over time. A well-produced trailer can have a life long after your show has been launched. My name is Jessy the Coker, and I would like to thank you for your attention. You can find me on Twitter, you can find my podcasts in the second hyperlink, and if you want to know more about me, you can find that on my website. Thank you very much, and good luck with the project.